Johnny, tell me what ExcelWraps does. You know, what applications is it used for?
Wraps is all about looking at problems that rolling stock has and creating solutions to make the operation of rolling stock much simpler and easier to do.
And how do you achieve that?
Um, we try to engage with our clients. So our clients are obviously rolling stock people, and we engage with them by understanding their processes, and we invite them to collaborate with us through the use of Excel documents. So we use Excel as kind of like a common ground where people can set out what they want. They can even set out bits of business logic within spreadsheets, and that becomes our starting point. And through engaging through Excel, what we're doing is that we're inviting engineers into our world of IT. And so we're providing IT solutions, but doing it by directly involving them in the development process. So our source material, if you like, is Excel, which is fairly ubiquitous and everybody can understand, and everybody can share. So who can't open an XLS document? So it's used everywhere. So that's how we try to tap into the minds of people that understand rolling stock problems.
In terms of rolling stock, what applications are you using the ExcelWraps software for?
Well, in principle, we can use the ExcelWraps for any problem whatsoever. But because we're dealing with rolling stock, where we've got a number of maintenance solutions that we're working on, we've got a number of overhaul solutions that we're working on, we've got special ways of handling peculiar terms like additional arising work, which is basically when you come across, if you're overhauling, say, and you come across a problem that you weren't expecting, maybe much more corrosion than was anticipated, usually that's going to create some extra work. But managing that extra work is quite difficult because it usually ends up with a stream of emails that you can rarely put together. What we try to do is bring everybody onto the same page, or all the interested parties on the same page, because obviously you have to describe the problem, you have to plan the problem, you have to work out how many hours you're going to use on that to fix the problem, how much material you're going to use. You'll want to invite the client in to say, will you pay for this? And you'll be looking for his approval as well. And if you engage everybody through a wrap, so bring that really does bring everybody to the same point. So all the information lives in the same wrap, and together we go through the process of dealing with these unplanned problems, which we call additional arising work. So bringing everybody together on the same page is a lot easier than searching your emails for an attached photo and actually what we do there with the additional arising work, because we're doing all the planning and costings, at the end of an overhaul, we say, give me a bill for all the additional arising work. And you give the people, present the client with a bill that he's already signed off. So we've agreed all this during the process, rather than some paperwork nightmare that has to happen at the end of the process. So I think typically when a vehicle's been overhauled, say, and we're returning that to service, it won't go back into service unless you've got a compliant vehicle. And what you have at the end, or traditionally what you would have, is people, highly qualified people, running around trying to get the documentation package to show that this was a conformant train. But now as we're gathering this information as we go, as part of the normal process of working, it's just always there. It's just becoming more and more complete. So, that in itself saves a fortune for companies, rather than this kind of paperwork nightmare at the end of a job.
You talk about ExcelWraps being built on the Excel platform, but also, you know, you are a software company. But you know, what makes you different? Why have you gone into the rolling stock industry, and what is your background in that, and what do you understand in that area?
Well, I'm a rolling stock engineer, so I come from an analytical background where we do things like, I'm more interested in the life of a body shell, the fatigue life of a body shell, the design, the strength of components, making sure that things don't fall off, or I get involved in diagnostic problems with the railway. So that's where I come from. And in solving those kinds of problems, I've always dealt with computers. And the writing software has become a bit of a nasty habit, really. So I really enjoy the process. And although I'm a railway analyst, really, I've ended up developing solutions that are of use to people in the rolling stock solution that are not involved with engineering analysis. So in fact, most of our solutions are involved in far more simple, higher volume kind of problems than a particular engineering analysis problem. But that's why I'm here. And I think there's also, we've got a great focus on rolling stock, because we don't, this is, we could go with this solution into any industry. But there's no point going into any industry when you don't know anything about it. We like to offer what we've got from a position of understanding problems. And there are lots of problems within, or there are lots of issues that are handled in a common way for rolling stock. So one of them will be competence management. You know, you're not allowed, if you're working under UK regulations, to let somebody who's never welded something before weld a train. You know, there's a whole process that you have to go to prove that this person is competent. So part of what we're doing is to say, oh, this weld that happened on this train has been done by this guy, and he's competent because he's got this information here is backing up his competence, and that will be all his welder certification, his education, all the rest of it. So every time you get a digital signature from ExcelWraps, it comes with a pedigree. It comes with a history of what that person has done, and also comes with a history of what that person is allowed to sign off and not allowed to sign off. So the competence management side of it is something that we're very strong on, and that's been kind of put in the solution right from the start, really.
A lot of people watching this will think that surely an IT department should have these kind of things in place, or there are more globally available solutions for software for managing processes and people. But obviously that isn't the case, because from an ExcelWraps perspective, you're dealing with things that are much more on the shop floor and depot led. So why would somebody actually choose ExcelWraps over a global software solution?
There's a balance here, because there are global solutions. So there are ERP systems. They've got things like SAP and other systems like Equinox that are quite prevalent in the rolling stock world. They're never going to go away. We have to work with them, but they're just they're very good at what they do, but they're very hard to customize, almost impossible to customize. So I'd say most of our work is about engaging with the engineering process, providing a solution that collects information in an intelligent way, but ultimately we're in the business of once we've collected the information within ExcelWraps, we will be offering that up to the larger systems, and then that would be typically at the end of the project. There's an integration piece where we would plug into there. So the reason why we need to go down that process is that if you've got a simple shop and you buy stock and stock sits in and then you make a sale, all those kind of software systems are all very good at managing inventory and providing your sales receipts and producing your accounts. But actually, when it comes down to the nitty-gritty of what we have to do in the railway industry, those processes are not simple. And you need to get into the minds of engineers running that system who have got a very good idea of what they want to do. And they're frustrated because they can't take the big systems and plug them in very easily. So again, our solution, by working with them directly and translating information between ourselves and our clients through Excel, we're setting out in a language that they understand what the system requires. And generally, all our clients have got a very good idea of what they want to happen for all the little peculiar parts of the system. So we do an overhaul solution, say, but that overhaul solution for Hitachi might be have a certain set of requirements, but the same overhaul solution for Siemens will have a different set of requirements because of the kind of infrastructure in which they work. So we have these kind of common solutions, but they each have to be tailored in their own way to actually fit in the organization. And that's what, ultimately, that's what we're very good at. We're rapid application development, really. So using Excel, harnessing Excel, using that as our source material, that's our common ground. That's the language that everybody speaks, and that's what we build upon. And we produce these highly customized workflows, and we ultimately offer our information to the larger systems. But what it means for the guys working on the shop floor is that they've got an interface that looks exactly like what they want it to look like. It's maybe even based upon their old paperwork system, so that nobody is confused on the shop floor. And really, that's where you don't want people on the shop floor to be scratching their heads. Should I push this button or enter this text here? It's really laying it out in a very simple way, exactly in the way they want to, exactly in the way they want to see their problem presented to them.
ExcelWraps in the rolling stock world is probably one of the best kept secrets, because I understand that 64% of carriages within the UK actually are touched by ExcelWraps. Is that correct?
That is correct. So so when ExcelWraps touches a train, it means that a train might have been through an overhaul process, and the overhauler might have an ExcelWrap system involved. And so the reports that are going out to the clients. So we did that 65% is just a little survey that we did to look at our clients and all the classes of trains that they deal with, and actually we're touching an awful lot of trains actually come into contact with ExcelWraps in one way or another. So yes, but there's plenty. We're it's early days for us yet. There's still plenty of places to go. So yeah. So although we touched 65%, so we feel that our name's getting out there really, and people know who we are and what we do.
Typically, who are your clients and what do your clients look like?
Well, we'll do with the railway industries. We've got a multi-tier approach. So top of the tree might be the Roscoes, the owners of trains. So Eversholt will be a client of ours in that mould, and they have an interest in looking after their assets, of course. So that's their primary interest. Then other clients would be train manufacturers, because train manufacturers these days kind of extend into maintenance operations anyway. So we deal with manufacturers, and there's the maintainers of trains, so our maintenance systems obviously fit there, and the overhaulers of trains. So we operate at many different levels, from top to the kind of service levels. And we've got ExcelWraps installed with people that just produce components as well. So down to the kind of subcomponent level. So if we imagine the owners have a different type of problem altogether to the people providing components, but the same solution kind of serves them both, top to the bottom.
A lot of people in this day and age talking about software, particularly large companies, will be very aware of security, be that cyber security or otherwise. How is the data stored, and how can people be confident in that data not being accessed by the wrong people?
Well, that's obviously something we take very seriously. So, and the good thing about working for a number of different clients is that from time to time we're audited. So some companies have, let's take Hitachi, one of our large clients. They were all over us and on data security, and we had lots of hoops to jump over, and we had lots of assurances to offer, and this kind of. So and that ultimately ends up in your kind of service level agreement, in terms of, you can't provide a guaranteed service level agreement unless you've got all these things in place. So, but we've been through the same process with Eversholt, we've been through the same process with Wabtec, we've been through the same process with all our big clients. And what ultimately, this all goes into our platform. So our platform is the same for all clients. So we actually, if we're pushed hard on these issues, we not only solve the problems for the person who's actually pushing those issues, but we give that same solution to everybody, because life's too complicated to have a customized platform for each and every company. But what happens is, our approach is, well, we give everybody the best we can possibly give them, and we manage that going forward. So typically every month or two that we would have a software upgrade, and that will be all the development work that we're doing gets pushed together, and it's obviously tested on a stage site first. So we have a playground where that's all tested. When it's all tested, every month there'll be a new offering of new features, new components, data security enhancements, and interface kind of extension as well. So that's what happens every month when you're on the system, and usually that takes 15 minutes. So we'll upgrade the system, and it'll take about 15 minutes for that to happen. So it's pretty much a seamless process.
Any company investing in hardware or software is always looking for that return on investment. What have your customers found to be the benefits of using ExcelWraps?
I can recall Brush Traction saying to us, we saved them so much money on the first time they ever used it. So within the first month, they said it paid for itself. There's lots. I don't really. This return on investment thing's a difficult argument to put, really. But I think you can actually construct an argument just based upon the amount of paper and office supplies you're saving. You could actually generate a business case to say, actually, we should be going for ExcelWraps regardless. So it becomes a difficult thing to construct for each and every company, because everybody thinks about things in different ways. But from what my clients say, it just pays for itself. And I think the key question to ask is, ask your clients whether they would want to walk away from ExcelWraps. And nobody's going to walk away from that once they've got started.
And one final question from me. You're a British company with a British support team, so it's not just you. You are the face of the company and the founder of the company, and your great knowledge. But you've got a fantastic team behind you as well, though, to support your clients.
We have an amazing team behind us, and it's been very carefully put together. So a lot of it has been choosing the right partners to work together. So kind of a lot of the team, we've bought solutions and brought them in to the company. So we've got people in Sweden, France, up and down the UK. We've got people in Kathmandu. So we bring people together from all over the world. So kind of these days where we're all meeting on screens. Well, we've all only ever met on screens. Once or twice a year we get together, we have a bit of a kind of brainstorming session and kind of work out development plans for the future and that kind of thing. And I really look forward to those. In fact, that's one of the things I've really missed in this COVID period. That's really, we all live on screens. And in fact, it's easier for us to work on screens. I know when I go to see some of my colleagues in face to face, it's much harder when you're peering over each other's laptops than actually just sharing a screen. So it's our preferred way of working. What the positive thing from COVID is that's become a method of communication that our clients are now happy to work with. So no longer do we get, oh, don't want to do a screen meeting, just come down to London or whatever, wherever the meeting's going to be. People are now very happy to do this. And for us, it's a massive productivity benefit, because in a day, I can have 8 little 1-hour meetings and move everything on much faster. I could never fit 8 real meetings into a day. But so I think it's been a tremendous productivity boost for us.